to tune in to Path to Purpose, where we share our unique and universal stories, how we found our purpose and how we are fulfilling our purpose. My name is Katja and I'm here with Stephanie Gretchen, who is a certified life coach, retreat leader, and a spiritual director, working with clients all around the United States. And she is the owner of Stephanie Gretchen Coaching and Retreats. And she's also on contract with Christian Michelson, where she coaches clients to their success. So welcome, Stephanie. It's so lovely to have you here today.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here with you.
So I did a really brief introduction. I know you do so much more and you have so many certifications and you just keep learning and growing. So could you share a little bit more about you, who you are and what you do?
Sure. Although I think that probably, as we talk about how I got to where I am, a lot of those will come out. So I don't know if you want me to share them now or just kind of as we talk.
Well, we can go also as we talk, but I will share some special connection that we have.
Yes.
Many of you might not know this, but Stephanie also have a little bit of Finnish blood in her.
50%.
Yeah. And because I'm also from Finland, so that was something when we first connected, we were like, oh, she was like, teach me some Finnish.
Yeah, because living in the United States, it's not all that common to come across another Finn. So when we were introduced and you said you were from Finland, I was like, wow, yay, another Finn, woohoo.
Yeah, and actually, because normally the Finnish names, like my name, the ending NEN is kind of like a mark, like, okay, that person is from Finland.
Right.
Your name didn't tell that, so I was like, wow.
Exactly. I have my Ukrainian father's last name, but my mother's maiden name is Raikkonen.
Yes, so that's the typical.
You would have picked it up then, yeah.
Yes, definitely. So let's then go dive in deep to your journey. As you said, like finding out what brought you to do what you do today. So was there a special event or something that led you to this path?
I find that, at least my experience in life, is that things unfold. And yes, there are certain kind of like light bulb moments, but so often it's this, this leads to that, which leads to the next thing. And so shortly out of grad school, I was working for an association, and the good part was that, I was being, getting experience in lots of different areas and learning new skills. But the bad part was that it was so incredibly boring. And the staff that I worked with, it was a super dysfunctional place. Like people were actually like screaming at each other in the hallways and just really disrespectful to each other. And I was kind of like, whoa, I'm not used to this. Yeah, exactly. I didn't think adults acted like this, and so I pretty soon thereafter kind of got into a dark place. I knew that I wanted to find a new job, but the job market wasn't great, and I wasn't really clear what I wanted to do. I was not clear about my purpose. And my prayer kept on being like, okay, use me, God, show me. And I'm not saying that God didn't answer, but I was not picking up on the clues, And so eventually it led to a real dark night of the soul. And I was really in a hard place. And I decided to, and this may have been my light bulb moment, but I decided to do one thing for myself that would be joyful. And so I knew that I enjoyed public speaking. And so I thought, okay, I also feel passionately about the environment and about animals. And, you know, I was living in the DC area, so I became a docent at the National Zoo, and I did educational programs there. And besides being super fun, and, you know, doing these good works, it also gave me these wonderful public speaking skills. And that was one of those, you know, light bulb moments, like ding, like, and the first major like beacon on my journey of like, hey, follow your joy, you know, like, yeah, if you want to find your purpose, follow your joy.
Absolutely.
And so I worked there for several, you know, I volunteered there for several years. But what's also really cool is that as soon as I started to do that, like the energy just shifted. And a week later, I got this fantastic job in this anti-child abuse program. And it was, you know, talk about fulfilling your purpose and feeling like you have a true meaningful outlet and that you're making a difference in the world. And, you know, I feel like in hindsight, it's that, you know, the light switch of like, okay, follow your joy, you know, like this is supposed to be joyful. And so then, you know, there were other opportunities where, I don't know about you, but I didn't manage to only have one dark night of the soul. You know?
There are many of them.
Yes, yes.
My experience, like if you have only one, you are blessed.
Exactly. So, you know, fast forward through the years, and I was in another really dark place, and I decided that I needed to, again, you know, do something that was good for myself. And so in this discernment process, I decided to go on pilgrimage to this place in New Mexico, which is just, it's a thin place, you know, it's the spirit of the land is there, just the Holy Spirit is all around. And it's just palpable. And so I went there for some discernment and some peace and quiet, and realized at that time, like, you know, it was kind of like the heavens opened up and it was like, okay, Steph, you're like, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to lead people, you know, through their spiritual journeys, through their pilgrimages, whether it's literal or, you know, spiritual. And so, you know, here I was like, again, just dark night of the soul, and, you know, things just opened up again when I followed the joy, when I followed doing something for my heart, you know, for myself. And so then it was like, I got that realization, and I went back. I was living in the DC area, and I went back to DC, and I was walking the labyrinth, kind of thinking about how to manifest this, you know, like what were my next steps and things. And I look up at one point, and there is the director of this program at the Shalem Institute for Spiritual Formation, which is an international organization. And so I've never walked quite so quickly out of a labyrinth. But, you know, I went and I talked to her, and she's like, oh, we've got this fantastic program, you know, all about leading. It's the group leadership program. So it's all about leading pilgrimages and personal spiritual deepening and, you know, retreats and workshops. And so I enrolled in that. And so I'm a graduate from their group leadership program. And, you know, that was the next unfolding. And then I was teaching programs, especially on personal spiritual deepening, and helping others to, you know, find their truth and live from that. and deepen their spiritual life and their spiritual connection. And then I realized, like, I could really help others even more by becoming a spiritual director. So then it was interesting, again, you know, how God's fingerprints are just all over everything, right? And so I had applied to the Hezekiah School of Spiritual Direction, but then, like, things in life happened and I couldn't go, like, one semester, and I couldn't go the next semester. And then finally I was able to go, and it was just, I mean, the whole group we bonded so quickly and shared so deeply. And it was just a magical moment that, you know, the directors of the program were like, wow, this never happens. You know?
What happened here?
Exactly. And so again, it was just that opening, you know, following, like, I knew I needed to do this. And then taking that step forward and saying yes to the universe, and saying yes to myself, and saying yes to joy and my purpose. And then that very nicely unfolded into working with Christian Michelson, and realizing, like, oh, spiritual direction and life coaching are very similar. It's just, you know, I use different vocabulary, I tweak it a little bit, but it's very similar, and I get to help even more people. And so that's been my joyful unfolding. And then, you know, of course, got certified as a coach with Christian Michelson's Rapid Coaching Academy. And so, and now what I do is, you know, I help others.
Oh, you seem to freeze for a moment. Hopefully you get back soon. Let's see what's
Here I
happening.
am.
You're back. You froze for a moment. Kept us in tension. Like, what happens next?
All right, what part did you miss?
Yeah, the ending of that you started working Christian Michelson, and like unfolding the two different vocabularies and paths. So like the pros.
So then I, you know, of course, got certified with Christian Michelson's Rapid Coaching Academy, and have been very joyfully, you know, helping his clients, you know, coaching them as well as coaching my own clients to live their purpose and to live into their truth and their authenticity. And the way to find that is by following your joy. So
yeah, I love that, because that was something that repeated, like, okay, always like, okay, what can I do for myself? What brings me joy? And it was the discovery journey. So I'm very grateful you shared that, because like sometimes also like we think like, okay, we supposed to get it straight away, like have just the one dark night of the soul, but sometimes you might experience more, and that's just the unfolding and the like. I want to acknowledge your awareness to say, like, well, it wasn't that God didn't answer to me. It might have been me not picking up things.
Right, that's right. And thinking that, you know, the answer is going to be here.
Yes.
But of course, the whole universe is open to you. And so I think that, at least for me, you know, once I opened up my blinders, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, wow, this was there all the time.
Right. Yeah.
I just didn't see it. And sometimes also things, it's the divine timing. Like sometimes things unfold when they meant to unfold, like you not going to that training 2 years and like, no, not now, not now. And that there was a reason for that, because the other groups might not work that way than what experience you got now.
Yeah.
But let's talk about a little bit more about the purpose. So how do you define living your purpose? What does it really mean?
Well, it's interesting. Another piece of living your purpose, I think that's important, is to realize that, like, it's not necessarily one thing. I mean, like, as I shared my journey, you can see that, like, my purpose at one point was to be, you know, this docent at the National Zoo. And then the next time it was to lead, you know, these spiritual deepening groups. And then it was, you know, it's like our purpose doesn't have to be just one thing. And that's another way to, like, open up the blinders, you know, not to think that it just is going to fit into this one little box. And so for me, my understanding of living your purpose is living that truth where the world's needs and your gifts meet.
Mm.
I guess if I were to put it in a nutshell, that would be it.
Your definition. Thank you for sharing that, because it's sometimes like, okay, we talk about purpose, but what does it really mean? And then like, okay, now when we define that, so then what could help people to start discovering that?
Yeah.
And one thing I really loved when you said, like, okay, it might be one point this one and one point that. It's not that you are not fulfilling your purpose. If you didn't figure it out 20 years ago, you have not wasted these 20 years. It's just the journey, learning journey.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for teasing that out, because it's so true. And, you know, we don't want to be like, okay, well, I'm 40 years old and I've wasted all this time. No, you were doing exactly what you were supposed to be doing at that time.
Mm. And now it's time to then look forward. How do I want to fulfill my purpose in the future? So for people who come to you, who normally are your people who come to you to seek help? So just to sharing, like, if somebody is listening, like, that sounds interesting, but I don't know if that's for me. So who come to you?
So the people who tend to be attracted to me and working with me are the ones who, like, have you ever heard an adult say, well, you know, I haven't been able to figure out what I want to do when I grow up. Or they feel stuck. They're like, okay, like, I've tried everything in my toolbox, you know, and of course we help people through the journey that we've been through. So, you know, when people say, I just feel so stuck, I'm not sure what to do, and I feel like there's something more out there and I'm not living it. And it's like, okay, I feel you, sister, you know? So yeah, those folks who feel like they're stuck, like they know there's something bigger and better out there, but they're not sure how to find it. And then, you know, knowing that, okay, I know there's something out there for me, but they're just not sure how to find it.
Mm. So if somebody now says, yep, that's me.
Come on in.
So of course, the best way is to contact Stephanie and get the support. But if they want to just like, okay, let me just start this journey on my own.
Sure.
So like, if you can share the first step for them, and then they can, of course, contact you. But where would you start with a person who feels all that, like feeling stuck and like not, and maybe actually even know what they are seeking, but they know something is missing?
Right.
So where do you start coaching with them?
So I find that when people come to me in this situation, the coaching is multi-pronged, because I want you to be able to enjoy your life now, like right now. Let's get some things into place now so that you have more joy, so that you're not burned out, exhausted, exasperated, depressed. That, you know, you don't feel those things anymore. So let's, like, right now, change some things in your present life, as well as work on, you know, okay, let's figure out what that joyful piece is. How can we tease out your gifts so that you are, you know, living into them and the world's needs?
I love that. Like, and I love the focus on, okay, what can we do now? And then we keep working on the future. So that's kind of like shifting so much energetically as well when there is something, even a little tiny piece of joy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I totally get that, because that has helped me a lot, like remembering, follow the joy, bring joy into your life. And that's part of thanks to your reminder, Stephanie, like, where's your joy?
That's right. That's right. And also remembering, Katja, I know you and I have talked about this, but like, you know, the universe is so bountiful and so abundant. And I believe, you know, we're supposed to live into that joy. And so it's not like there's just breadcrumbs spread out, which is, you know, when I started on this journey, that was my perspective, was like, okay, well, that's a breadcrumb of joy. I'm going to follow that, you know? And then I came to realize, like, no, it's a whole huge super highway, yellow brick road, you know? So I want to help others, you know, to shift that and to realize, like, okay, I don't have to wait 6 months or a year or 3 years or whatever on down the line to enjoy life. I can do it right now.
So if somebody says, yes, I want that right now, so how can they reach you? What, do you have a special offer for somebody who is listening to this interview?
Yeah, well, I know that so often it's really nice to like get to know each other a little bit more. Coaching is a relationship. And so, you know, I would definitely welcome people to come on to my Facebook page, which is, you can find me either through Stephanie Gretchen Coaching and Retreats or Live Your Purpose Coach. And then also, you know, you can always email me. That's Stephanie@liveyourpurposecoach.com. And I would like to offer everybody, I have a booklet called 5 Steps to More Awesome. And I would love to share that with anybody who's interested. And again, it will help you to live more into the joy right now. You know, you don't have to delay the gratification. You can start living more joy right now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for offering that. I will post everything to the comments below, so you find all the links and the book link to the booklet as well. And let's bring more joy into our lives right now. So please do click those links. And just starting to wrap up this interview, would you have a special message for people who listen? Because I know you are really gifted as well and connected, so maybe there is something you want to share with people.
You know, I think that remembering that we are all divine, and we are all spiritual beings in human bodies. And sometimes when we remember that, it gives us the permission, because sometimes we feel like we need permission to live the joy. And so if we can remember that divine seed that's in all of us, that is, you know, joy seeking joy, that, you know, give yourself the permission and the opportunity to live fully into that.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for your time. I have enjoyed this joyful interview.
Totally my pleasure. Thank you so much, Katja. It's always a blessing and an honor to be with you.
Thank you, and keep watching Path to Purpose show. You can subscribe to this channel so you will get notification anytime I post new videos here. And I'm sending you loads of love and light. Stay well and stay blessed. Bye for now.